If you're going to stand out from the crowd and set yourself apart from the competition, one of the most important things you can do is to rethink your choices. No matter what's happening in your life, good, bad, or otherwise, you always have a choice. Most people have two choices, and sometimes there's a little bit of a gray area in between, but on most days, when you're dealing with change and you're dealing with difficult customers and you're dealing with budgets that have been cut and all of the things that are going on in your world right now, there are probably two emotions that you're dealing with on a regular basis. You're either feeling powerless or you're feeling powerful. And it's very possible to feel both of those emotions in the same day, isn't it? Sometimes in the same hour. Let's talk about feeling powerless. Think about a time when you felt powerless over something that happened. Maybe it wasn't even something that happened at work. Maybe it was something that happened in your personal life or in a relationship with a friend or something. What happens when you feel powerless? When you're feeling powerless, you are feeling that life just happens and you have absolutely no control over it. When you really begin to feel powerless, you sometimes fall into that trap of playing the role of the victim. There's nothing I can do about it. This is what's happened. I'll just sit on my hands and hope for the best. So that's one way to look at it. That's one choice that you have. The other choice that you have is to feel powerful. Feeling powerful means that you're going to take charge of what's going on. You may not be able to change it. You may not have a lot of control over what's happening, but you do have total control over the attitudes and the beliefs and behaviors that you bring to your job and you bring to your life when you're dealing with change or difficult people or anything else that you happen to be dealing with. So you've always got a choice to feel powerful or powerless. Which one of those do you think is going to work better for you? Obviously. So thinking in terms of taking charge, what does that mean? Taking charge means not only just, looking at my dreams and goals and my vision for the future and how I want my life to be. Taking charge means figuring out what you're going to do to make that happen. How are you going to move forward? How are you going to be able to take your power and use it to the best of your advantage? So taking charge means that you're going to let go of what didn't work in the past and start focusing on the future. Taking charge means that you're going to take responsibility, that you're going to hold yourself accountable for the choices that you make, that you're not going to let other people and other situations control your life and control your destiny. Because if you've ever tried that, you see, it's not really a good idea to put somebody else in charge of your future. Now, taking charge and doing all those things, being responsible, being accountable, making good decisions, having good, healthy relationships in your life, all of those things take hard work. It's a lot of responsibility. Solving problems instead of whining and complaining. Looking forward, moving forward in any opportunity that you have. That's a lot of responsibility, and it takes a lot of work. So standing out from the crowd is not something that's going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of work. But this is the alternative, isn't it? So one of the things you want to remember is that you never, ever want to give another person the power to control your destiny. You need to be in charge of that. There's seldom a circumstance when you are powerless unless you choose not to act and not to do anything about it. So rethinking your choices means, if I'm going to stand out from the crowd, what am I going to do to move forward? What am I going to choose? What attitude or behavior am I going to choose that's going to make a difference in my career? I'd like you to write down the word confidence. And remember that every time you make a good choice, your confidence level increases. How many of you in this room have children? Grandchildren? Nieces, nephews, any little people who are like shorter than you? Okay. You know, when we start working with our children at a very young age, what do we teach them? We teach them about making good choices, don't we? And we know that every time they make a good choice, it increases their confidence level. One of our grandsons, Hudson, is when he was 4 years old, we were riding somewhere in the car, and he saw this kid go by on a motorcycle without a helmet. And he just said matter-of-factly, well, that's not a very safe choice. 4 years old. His parents have taught him well. And his big brother Carter knows some good stuff too. But think about what happens when we're trying to teach our children about what it means to make good choices. And every time they do, it raises their confidence level. As adults, we're the same way. Every time we make a good choice, it raises our confidence level and helps us get better at what we do. But the problem comes in sometimes is that when we figure out that it's easier and doesn't require nearly as much work if we make choices that are easy based on what's good for us. And how many times do we do that in the course of a day or course of a lifetime? It's easier to sit on the sofa and watch TV than to exercise. It's easier to eat more than we should than to work at losing weight. It's easier to put up with bad behavior than to hold somebody accountable for their behavior. It's easier sometimes to be in a bad relationship because it's easier than doing the work to make it different. When you look at the choices that we make, it's pretty easy to understand that making good choices sometimes is hard, isn't it? It takes a lot of hard work. So when you look at choices, whether it's in your career or in your personal life, your professional life, think in terms of making the choices that might be hard work at the time. I mean, it's hard work to do anything to bring value into your life, isn't it? It's hard work to keep a marriage strong, to keep a relationship together. It's hard work to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's hard work to be in good relationships. It's hard work to work at your job and to build the career and the future that you are entitled to and you deserve. It's hard to do those things, but hard work is the only way it's going to happen. So when you're thinking in terms of choices, think in terms of sometimes not so much what's going to be the easy thing, but what's going to help me get to that long-term goal? What's going to help me get a seat at the table? What's going to help me be seen as a strategic partner? That may not be the easiest task to work on today, but it's the task that's going to have the choice that's going to have the best outcome for you in the long run.